Good afternoon and welcome to Manchester, where we have the final press conference for Joshua Buatsi against Daniel dos Santos. I'd like to say that Adam Smith joins me now. Adam, welcome to the bubble. You came in this morning and just set this card up for us. It's not the main event we thought we were going to have. Obviously, Terry Harper suffering an injury in her last spar. Talk about bad luck, and it is a recurrence of the hand injury. She had surgery yesterday and it's gone well. She'll be in the bubble, I think, Friday, so we can have a catch-up with her. That is a big disappointment, but opportunity knocks for Joshua Buatsi. He now tops the bill against an unbeaten French opponent in Daniel dos Santos.
And that's the business, isn't it? You know, opportunity knocks. So often in boxing that's been the case. It's a heartache for Terry Harper. We look forward to catching up with her maybe tomorrow when she's here. It's good news over Sandy Ryan, who's turned a professional with Matchroom today. So women's boxing absolutely booming, but Terry takes a step aside, and we wish her well from her surgery. And in comes Joshua Buatsi on the bill already, but now top of the bill, the star performer. And he could be a star. That's what we all want to know with Buatsi. You know, he's been talked about for the last 3 or 4 years as maybe, you know, one of the next generation to really sort of steal the limelight. And he's got the quality, I believe, to become a world champion. He's had a bit of an activity, a bit of bad luck. Obviously, He's made a big move to go to the States to team up with Virgil Hunter, our old friend, and a wonderful trainer, obviously, that led Andre Ward to so much incredible success and spent time with Amir Khan and many others. He's a very wise sage, Virgil, and he'll be doing, you know, they've done a great deal of work together, Joshua Buatsi and Virgil Hunter. I'm really looking forward to seeing him put that into practice against this unbeaten Frenchman who we don't know too much about, but anyone that's unbeaten is obviously very dangerous, and we saw what happened last time when Buatsi fought Marko Calic, and that was an interesting fight. You know, he had his issues there. He had to work out a few problems, but when he did, he got the job done in emphatic fashion. What I'd like to see with Buatsi is some momentum. We need to see a really big performance on Saturday night, and we need to see him fighting regularly again.
What stands out on the undercard for you? So I'll set it up with 3 European title fights. Gamal Yafai making a first defence against Jason Cunningham. Tommy McCarthy making a first defence against Alexandru. And obviously Lerrone Richardson against former world champion Giovanni de Carolis. Which one of those stands out for you?
You've said it, 3
Take your pick.
title fights. It's a triple treat on Saturday night, and that's just without Joshua Buatsi. You know, you add Dalton Smith in as well in an English fight against Appleyard. They're really good, solid matches on Saturday. I'd love to see how Lerrone Richards gets on. You know, unbeaten talent, signed by Matchroom recently. We had a look at him, didn't we, with the bumblebee shorts on in at Wembley, obviously with Dave Colwell, who we know very well, and Dave talks extremely highly of Lerrone. Gamal Yafai just becoming the European champion. Cal's here as well. The Yafai is always a great story. And Tommy McCarthy, so much talent, and I think that Peter Taylor is guiding him well. He's had a great year, and looking forward to him as well. So let's get it on.
Yeah, let's make our way over to the stage where Ellis Hopkins is sat next to Eddie Hearn, and they are going to talk about Ellis's professional debut on Saturday night. So let's get over to promoter Eddie Hearn.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Chris, Darren and Andy as well. Welcome to everyone joining us live on Sky Sports Stream, and also, of course, Matchroom Boxing Stream. We're back in Manchester, hopefully the final event behind closed doors. Of course, last Saturday, I'm not getting bored of telling you, 73,000 people were in the unbelievable AT&T Stadium in Dallas, Texas for the huge Canelo against Billy Joe Saunders fight. And this will be the last time that we are behind closed doors. It's been fun. The bubble's been great. It's thrown up some unbelievable upsets and fights as well. And we will keep the bubble moving forward, but you will be allowed out. So good news for the fighters as we discuss a huge card this Saturday at the Manchester Arena, live on Sky Sports in the UK and DAZN around the world. Before we go into the championship fights, delighted to be joined by another debutant, Ellis Hopkins against Goranova this Saturday night. Ellis, firstly, welcome to the pro ranks. Big moment for you, and what a time to come into female boxing in the pro game.
Yeah, it's a massive time to come into female boxing. Obviously, like the last few years, like female boxing just gone from strength to strength, and I'm just excited to be a part of it and make my debut this weekend. Big show for you to join, and big platform as well. Who have you looked at in that pro ranks as inspiration for you? I know you've got your own style and you're looking forward to making your own mark, but some tremendous UK and British and Irish fighters right now who are really flying the flag. I mean, obviously everyone looks up to Katie Taylor, don't they? Like, you can't get better than that. She's done everything, she's won everything. But the likes of Terry Harper, Natasha Jonas, people like that, they're all big inspirations as well.
And what should the fans expect from you with your fighting style? I've seen you on the pads, I've seen you in the gym. Look very, very exciting. Look like you're always going to be coming to fight.
I can box, I can fight, so whatever happens on the night, happens on the night. We'll just see.
Well, we look forward to seeing your debut. And, of course, you've been there, seen it, all these young prospects as well. You're ready to give this young debutant a tough fight on Saturday.
Yes, I'm happy to see this girl. I'm happy for here. And I feel strong. I show you the boxing.
Good. Thank you very much. Well, Ellis, good luck for your pro debut on Saturday. Going to be kicking us off on the Facebook feed before we go live across Sky Sports. This fight, 4 rounds and the professional debut of Ellis Hopkins. If we could just have you here for a head-to-head, please.
Facing Ellis first, please. Great. Thank
you very much. Thank you.
Okay, so that is our Facebook Live fight, Adam. I'm just going to ask you to step back in. Female division as a whole, the female sport is going from strength to strength, so it is always good to have another addition in Ellis Hopkins.
Absolutely, and when we were here a couple of weeks ago, we got the masterpiece, didn't we, with Katie Taylor and Natasha Jonas. You know, wonderful, wasn't it? I remember talking to Tasha afterwards, and you know, she's obviously disappointed that she didn't become a world champion, a little bit like in fight camp, but what they have proved together, really, Katie and Tasha, since the Olympics in London, is that it's just a stellar sport now. Boxing is universal. It's not men and women. I mean, up there, Ellis talking about female boxing going up. It's just a boom time, Andy. And I think we just, you know, it's worth just calling it great boxing, because that's what it is. The women are absolutely fantastic. They are flying, and we welcome Ellis along, just like we do Sandy as well later in the year.
Yeah, I mean, that's Ellis's debut taken care of now. It's Sol Dacres, who you can see on the left of your picture, on the right-hand shoulder of Eddie Hearn, and a lot of buzz around Sol Dacres. He's had to wait for his opportunity because of just a couple of logistical things with the British Boxing Board of Control, but he's firing on all cylinders and ready to go on Saturday night. He sat alongside Eddie Hearn, so let's hear what he has to say. I'm sure he's full of excitement.
Well, another pro debut, and this time in the heavyweight division. Well, it's about time. We are very, very excited. The professional debut of Solomon Dacres. Sol, welcome. Sam Jones and SJAM team as well. This has been a long, long wait. We know in this current environment, the British Boxing Board of Control, they're slowing down on their interviews, on their paperwork, and thank you for them for giving us the all clear this morning that Sol Dacres will finally make his pro debut this weekend against Manev, who we know from the amateur game as well, World Series of Boxing, etc. But Sol, firstly, welcome, finally ready. You've put the work in the gym. Another great GB talent ready. The heavyweight division on notice. You're ready to start the journey on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. It's long overdue. You know, I thought I was going to get out March 20th on the Akoli card. And like you say, long delays. I've been training overtime for this fight, really. I've had about 3 training camps worth of training just for this one fight. But it's a career at the end of the day, so it's all in the bank, and I'm ready to let it all go on Saturday.
Obviously, you've seen a lot of other debutants come through, Nick Campbell, Johnny Fisher, guys without the amateur experience and the worldwide competitive competition that you've had as well. I know Sam feels that you want to move nice and quickly in this sport as well. Is that something you agree with as well because of your stunning amateur resume?
Yeah, like you say, I don't have to go too slowly. I can build myself up, and I've got a bit more experience, so I can take little steps a bit quicker than other fighters that haven't got that experience. So, like I say, Sam Jones and my coach, they'll pick opponents where I'm being tested and improving all the time. So we won't go at a snail's pace. We'll look to step up things, you know, in the next 12 months, definitely.
Obviously, the sparring you had at GB, fantastic. Over the years, of course, likes of Joe Joyce and Daniel Dubois, and also Anthony Joshua, who you've shared a lot of rounds with as well. So, been mixing it with some top boys already, and looking forward to making your mark in a pro game.
Yeah, absolutely. All that experience, guys that have been there and done it, like you say, Joshua, your Joyces, Dubois, sparring those guys, they're 15, 20 fights into the pro career and well established, and I'm sparring and getting confidence and knowing my own level. Now, just starting out, I haven't had my first fight yet, but it gives you that confidence seeing them fighting and big titles and stuff like that, and it gives me confidence knowing that I'm going to go forward and what I can do as well.
Manev, I know your English is small, so just going to say ready to fight on Saturday night against a good young fighter.
Yes, I'm ready to fight. I'm ready. Good boxing Saturday. I feel very, very good in Manchester. Manchester, very nice city. I speak little English.
Very good. Very good. But you're just ready for a tear-up, basically, for war. War. Ready for war.
Yes, I'm ready.
Good man.
Good. Okay.
Good man. And
Thank
so,
you.
just
Thank you
finally
very
from
much.
you, obviously we know we got a Brummie on this card with Gamal Yafai and Cal Yafai going to be returning to action as well. But big opportunity now with yourself for the city to get behind a big heavyweight from Birmingham and expect some big support.
Yeah, 100%. It's been a long time since we've had a heavyweight from Birmingham, and we haven't really got a world champion from Birmingham in the heavyweight division. We've never had one. So hopefully I can emulate that and start to become that and get the city behind me. We're the second city at the end of the day. So we need to get that support in Birmingham and get behind me, definitely.
Well, big moment for the heavyweight division, big moment for British boxing, the professional debut of Solomon Dacres this Saturday against Manev live on Sky Sports in the UK and the Zone around the world. Gentlemen, let's have a head-to-head up here, please.
Both here, please. Perfect.
Okay, so that is Solomon Dacres against Mladen Manev. Sam Jones from SJAM Boxing is going to come and join us now. Sol Dacres is just going to join our colleagues on Matchroom for them stream. Sam, just on that piece of tape there. Yeah. First things first, Sol Dacres just seems like a cool guy. Not showing any nerves. He seems to be enjoying it all. Lovely moment at breakfast this morning where that's the first time he's seen Mladen Manev, and Manev gave him a wave and went for the handshake. And as he came back, Sol Dacres went, "Is that my opponent?"
Yeah,
so he's obviously not overruled by it all. Tell us a little bit about him. Tell us the trajectory that you think he can take in the programme which starts on Saturday.
First off, Manev's a bit of a lump, isn't he? It says he's 5'11" on BoxRec. He's at least 6'2". If he's 5'11", I'm 5 foot flat. His trajectory is going to be a lot faster than what, as I say, what I mentioned yesterday, a Johnny Fisher, maybe even a Fabio Wardley as well. Somebody like that, we can push him a little bit faster because he is 27. He's very experienced. He's been around the world. He's sparred countless rounds with AJ. He's sparred many rounds with Daniel Dubois, Joe Joyce's. He's seasoned, even though he's only just turned.
What were those spars like? Were you able to go along and, with any of those names? I mean, AJ, pretty good sparring, and Joe as well.
I watched him spar Daniel Dubois about 4 weeks ago now, and there was some leather thrown, to say the least. So you're going to see him in some really, really good fights. He has got an aggressive nature about him, but he's patient as well. He's not just going to rush and smother his work. I'm sure of that. He's got a wise head on his shoulders, and you're going to see a really good display, I believe, on Saturday.
From a promotional point of view, everybody wants to turn pro in front of fans and sell a shed load of tickets and get the commission, enjoy it, and knock someone out. Actually, it's working in people's favour that actually Sol Dacres goes in there and it's like boxing in a library. Does that help him or hinder him? I know that eventually he'll want to go back to Birmingham, sell out the arena and get a crowd behind him, but actually turning pro with no one there, what's that going to be like?
I think he's used to it. I think as he's boxed internationally, it's going to play in his favour. Like I think he's boxed in Poland, like with 2 people there in a random gym somewhere. So it's going to play into his hands. That is, I think he'll be comfortable. Like for some people, they may struggle. Like you watch Josh Warrington, who's used to boxing with thousands of fans. I'm not saying that's the reason for his defeat, but I'm sure it didn't help. So, but I think Sol's coming into something he knows. It's just with smaller gloves on this time.
What about matching these heavyweights? It's a learning business for you as well in terms of taking the right. I mean, a lot of it does rest on your shoulders. Your head's on the block as well. In terms of matching them, are you sort of feeling it out as well? You'll know from the first few fights how quickly you can take Solomon Dacres, and I sort of put that in the same bracket as Johnny Fisher. Obviously, you're working with as well. Matching heavyweights is slightly different to matching the lighter weights, and one thing that is in Solomon's benefit is the huge amount of amateur experience and gyms that he's been around.
Yeah, look, you've got to be careful, especially at the heavyweight division's the most dangerous. Well, I wouldn't say it's the most dangerous division, but it's one punch can turn a fight. I suppose that's in any weights, but especially in the heavyweight division. But with Sol, I've seen him spar countless rounds. I know sparring's not the same as fighting, but as I say, with AJ, with Dubois, with Joe Joyce, he's sparred the best of them, so we can move him faster than your average heavyweight.
Sam, thanks for joining us. Let's get back over to Eddie Hearn.
Well, we've got a massive rivalry here, Sheffield against Rotherham. You know, actually, I'd like to say that, but I saw you two talking to each other kindly and nicely over there. This is a fantastic fight. Dalton Smith against Lee Appleyard for the English light welterweight title. It is Sheffield against Rotherham, but it's just such a great fight. I love these fights. A young prospect coming through takes a big step up against a young man who's been at the top of the area in the English levels and almost to British level as well, but put everything into this camp for a big opportunity in Lee Appleyard. Also want to thank Steffi Ball, who wouldn't leave me alone about this fight. Give him a chance. And Lee, you tested positive for COVID last time out when this fight was supposed to happen. I said you'd get your chance. You got it. It's given you even more time. You look in tremendous shape. I'll start with you. You've even got some outrageous barnet going on there. I mean, you must be in good shape to be having the hair like that. You're ready to fight. And you know this young man well, great talent, but huge opportunity for you as well.
Yeah, massive opportunity. It's a pleasure to share ring with Dalton. Obviously, he's one of the big uprising prospects, but we took the fight at 3 weeks' notice last time, and we believe we were going to win. We've had 9 weeks now, and we have no doubt. I mean, look, it's a hard fight. Everybody's writing me off. The bookies are writing me off. There's no pressure on me whatsoever. All the pressure's on this lad. And how is he going to deal with it on the night? Because when it starts going into the fight, into the later rounds, it's where I've been and what I've known. And I'll come into my own.
How important is that notice, like for fighters like you? I mean, you talk about, I'm sure you've had to take fights on less than 3 weeks' notice before, but makes such a huge difference, doesn't it, to have that long training camp to just get yourself absolutely perfect for this opportunity?
Yeah, when I boxed for Commonwealth against Dodd, I think that were only like 3.5 weeks' notice, and I think that made the difference on the result on the night because I'd not had time to properly prepare. But it was a bit of a blessing getting COVID, obviously. But I'd gone from having 3 weeks to now having 9 weeks, and then I got sponsors behind me, so I've got to thank all my sponsors because they've literally put me in a position where they've all sponsored me a bit each, and I've literally been able to train for 9 weeks constantly, like a proper professional, full time, and 1,000% I am in the best shape I've ever been in, and I'm coming to win on Saturday night. There's no doubt about it, and Dalton's got a tough night ahead of him.
This guy, great young talent, sharp puncher, technically very sound as well, but obviously very inexperienced in the pro game. Is that what you have to make count from your side as well?
Yeah, you can't buy experience, and obviously there's nothing between us. Do you know what I mean? He's a respectful lad. I'm respectful to him, and like I say, it's a pleasure to share the ring with him. But I know what doors this can open, and I want them doors opening for me to go through. I want to keep moving on. I want to fight for British and stuff like that. This is worthy of a British title. Let's be fair. So respect for Dalton for taking the fight, as not just me, as well as Dalton, because this probably wouldn't be happening if we were in the COVID situation. So this is a cracking fight for the fans, and they're in for a proper treat.
I mean, let's be honest, lads. If this was in Sheffield, would be a huge
massive
crowd
tickets,
there.
I sell loads of tickets. He sells tickets.
Or maybe the rematch. You know, if you get the win, you need to be giving Dalton a rematch.
Well, we'll see. I want to move on. I want British and Commonwealth titles. I want to move on. Do you know what I mean? If I beat Dalton, no disrespect, I don't care whether it's a point, 2 points, a knockout, whatever it is. I want to move on. This is a risk for me in my career where I am, and obviously I want to move on straight away. Once I've done it, if I do it, I'm moving on.
Good ambitions, Dalton. Fantastic to see a British fighter come in to win. It's a big step up for you. Starting to get really exciting now.
Yeah, like you say, it's starting to get exciting, and you know, I always, when the fight fell through at the first, you know, I knew he was going to get back on because it's a fight what I wanted. It's a fight I knew I'm going to look good in. You know, me and Lee've sparred before, so yeah, I'm just glad we can get back on.
Obviously, last time out, great performance. You won comfortably as well, but good to hear him say that he's had 9 weeks. That's what you want, isn't it? You want the absolute best Lee Appleyard on Saturday night.
Definitely, because when I win, I can turn around and say, look, there's going to be no excuses. They've had a full camp. I've got a 100% prepared Lee Appleyard, and that's what I want, and that's what's going to bring the best out of me.
He talked about his ambitions if he wins at the weekend to go forward to Commonwealth British as well. Do you feel, you're in the same position as well? I know you've had much fewer fights, but with your amateur experience as well, if you beat Lee Appleyard at the weekend comfortably, you should be looking at those titles as well.
Definitely, and that's what I'm want to push on towards. But people forget the World Series of Boxing. Even though it's not the championship rounds, but I've been in there with the tough guys, the Kazakhs, the Russians. So the experience for me is the championship rounds. But I'm confident in that, and I believe Lee'll take me to those rounds, and that's what I need. But when it comes to it with pressure, there's no pressure for me in this fight because each fight I take is going to be a step up. So there's always going to be pressure there anyway, and I feel like there's more pressure on Lee's shoulders because where does he really go after this fight? This is his world title shot. This is where he can push on. So for me, there's not much pressure on my shoulders.
Well, it's a cracking fight. English title on the line. As I said, Sheffield against Rotherham, Dalton Smith against Lee Appleyard. Tremendous fight. Don't miss it live on Sky Sports and DAZN on Saturday night. Gentlemen, if we can have a head-to-head here, please.
Face-to-face, please. Perfect. Brilliant. Thank you.
Okay, so Dalton Smith is just going to make his way over to us on our live stream here. Dalton, just on that mark on the floor there, we are live. That was quite nice, an actual round of applause from everybody in the room. I think that is because of the amount of respect shown between the two of you, but you're under no illusions once that first bell rings, despite the friendship, that all goes out the window, it's business.
Of course, I'm a respectful guy, so is Lee, so, we don't have to play up for the cameras or try and build it into something it's not. The respect's there, but, Saturday night, it's just business. And, let the best man win, but, I'm confident and you're going to see the best of me on Saturday.
Quite liked what you said there about the notice. Actually, you would rather fight a better prepared, maximum capability Lee Appleyard, because if and when you beat him, nobody can say, yeah, but you beat Lee Appleyard on 3 weeks' notice. So actually, you're facing the best Lee Appleyard. I quite like the fact that you said that's what I want.
Yeah, that is what I want. That's the reason why I took the fight. Lee's a good fighter, but I feel like this is where you're going to see the best of me. When I win, there's no excuses. I beat, the best Lee Appleyard, and he said that for himself.
We all loved the WSB. I've never really quizzed you on that. How many WSB fights did you have? And yes, we've got you down as a 7-0 pro, but actually, if you add those onto your record, it makes it a little bit different, because that very much was pro boxing. How many fights did you have with those?
I think it was 5, 1-3, something like that. But if you look at the records who I fought in there, boxed Toledo Lopez, the world-ranked Kazakhs. There was hard, tough fights with professional gloves, no egg guards, professional hand wraps. So people forget that experience. I've been in there in the deep end with those tough guys, and I've been in close fights.
Yeah, and that's where you mangled your hand, wasn't it? So it showed that you could punch those little gloves on, but that's all behind you now.
Yeah, even those fights, I think I broke my hand in one in the second round and carried on. So I've been in those trenches where I've had to dig deep, pull something out where, I've not been in that situation before. But like I say, I'm expecting a tough fight on Saturday, and yeah, I swear you're going to see the best of me.
Brilliant, thanks for joining us. Go well on Saturday. Let's cross over to Eddie Hearn.
Cruiserweight title on the line after his fantastic victory to win that title late last year. Tommy McCarthy returns to action, sitting fantastically well positioned in the world rankings right now. Number 5 with the IBF, number 5 with the WBA, and number 7 with the WBC. And before we talk to the champion, I'm going to go to Alexandru and his translator. Thank you. Big fight for Alex. He looks in great shape. He looks ready to fight on Saturday.
Aras bine zice că ești în formă pentru meciul de sâmbătă. Da, în formă pentru sâmbătă. Yeah. He was already ready for the fight. He's in good form.
Obviously a big chance to win the European title, but also very world ranked in the world as well. So a huge opportunity.
Ai oportunitatea de a câștiga acest titlu și
big opportunity in the world rankings.
Să urci în topul mondial.
Go on, give us a few words.
Yeah, it's a big opportunity for
the
him.
answer is yes. Okay.
Yes.
Tarek.
Yes, yes.
Okay, yes, let's go. Alexandru says let's go. Tommy, he doesn't say much, but we know he's a good fighter. He's been around that European level for a long time. Won European Union titles as well. Well ranked with the European Boxing Federation as well. Tall, strong, expecting a good fight on Saturday.
Yeah, I've been saying it all week. You know, I'm expecting a tough test. As you say, he's got all the experience and he's boxed at the championship level for some time. And like you say, it looks like he's in good shape. It seems like he's had a good camp and it seems like he wants to do his talking in the ring. So I'm a bit more nervous.
Obviously, last time out, it was a good 12 rounds for you against Lagoon. Started very well. You know, he came on strong in the fight. It ended up being a tough fight to win that European title, as it should be.
Yeah, you know, I've mentioned this before. I was prepared for a tough fight, but when I seen him at the weigh-in, he looked like he hadn't trained properly. So I kind of switched off a wee bit, and then when it came to fighting it, he was ready to go. So, you know, he pushed me, and like you said, there's no easy fights when you're fighting for the European title. And at the time, he was number 7 in the world, so it was a big win for me and a big confidence booster in it. And I'm just delighted that it came out the winner.
Obviously, a lot of people are talking about the future fights for you. Like I said, 5 in the IBF, 5 in the WBA, 7 in the WBC. Big domestic fights, maybe a rematch with Riakporhe, a Chris Billam-Smith fight for the British Commonwealth European. A Coley is now world champion. But you've got to be careful on Saturday. I mean, your countryman, James Tennyson, of course, disastrous for him the other week, talking about these future fights. You've got to focus on Saturday night. And behind the closed doors, as you've boxed there before, throws up a different kind of challenge.
Yeah, like as you say, there's so much potential for like a massive future ahead of us, but I just need to put that all to the back of my mind because, like you say, James Tennyson, you know, who we're from the same place, West Belfast, and same management and all that, and everything was set up for him to go on to bigger and better things, and it didn't go his way. So, you know, that's made me switch on even more. I have to put anything up past this out of my mind because this is going to be a tough fight on Saturday, and I can't afford any slip-ups.
Absolutely, big fight for Tommy McCarthy against Alexandru. European Cruiserweight title this Saturday. Gentlemen, going to have a head-to-head here, please.
Danny, first move, Tommy. Danny, please. Perfect. Place to play, please. Brilliant, gents. Well done. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Tommy's actually going to go to our colleagues over at Matchroom. We caught up with him yesterday, but hopefully we'll get a word with him tomorrow. Adam, Alexandru. Well, what can I say?
You did an interview with him?
So, yeah, I did, and it was terrible. Tommy McCarthy said he's going to do his talking in the ring, and it's actually a bit more unsettled there. I don't think I've ever heard anything. We've never had anyone just say yes. I don't think he said anything else. I mean, what can you say about him? He has come in shape.
With a big team.
Yes.
There's a lot of people taking pictures and wearing the smart tracksuits and all the rest of it. He's got a great deal of experience as well. And so, look, he's got to be taken seriously. And that's exactly what Tommy McCarthy has done. He looks in great shape. And he mentioned, obviously, about James Tennyson and what happened the other week, and he has to absolutely concentrate on the task in hand. He's in a very good position worldwide. I've always thought with Tommy, he's had so much ability. I remember him when he was a young amateur, coming through as a pro. I was very, very excited, Andy, that he would do really big things. And he got derailed a couple of times, and it looked like maybe he wouldn't. But he seems to have got right back on it. He's got a great team around him. And, I really think that Tommy can do some serious business in the cruiserweight division, but he's got to get through this tough Romanian first.
Yeah, Tommy's actually singing at the back of the room. Mark Dunlop's going to. We didn't know about this hidden talent that Tommy can sing. Have you been spooked by Alexandru's lack of predictions there? Is it another Giovanni Straffon for you this week? Is it not going to make the same mistake again?
Definitely not. As I say, Tommy's been up all night, kept me up singing. Thought he was going to make his debut on Sky singing, but obviously it's not happening today. But You know, as I said to Juror's manager there, he's a bundle of laughs, isn't he? So that's not going to happen. But you know, equally, we want to get this fight out of the way. The fight I really, really love for Tommy is the CBS fight. I think it's a cracker. You know, shut him up and then move on for a world title. That's my. I know I shouldn't. I don't normally get involved in all that, but
well, there were some barbs on social media yesterday, wasn't there? So
yes, but like Tommy will school that kid. There's no problem about that, and he can fire at me all he wants. You know, there's no problem. But that's if we, praise God, come through this fight safely. I'm going to push Freddie for that fight, because after that, you know, I'll shut everybody up. British Commonwealth European, you couldn't ask for any more, could you?
Started a war of words there that I feel I'm part of now. I just, let's wait to give Chris his platform to speak on that as well. I just want to talk about Alexandru there. I know you're very much here to talk about Tommy, but Alexandru, he has been in with better quality of opposition that Tommy McCarthy has been in with, but he has come up short in those fights.
Yes. Well, he was EU champion a couple of times. I think he's never had this opportunity, but as again, when I said to you last week, you know, James didn't have the opportunity. He fought Ward, James Tennyson, and Strathmore didn't have it. He faced James. So, you know, this is boxing, isn't it? And this is top level European boxing. So I'm expecting, they've had plenty of notice, expecting a real good tough fight, but Tommy will take all the rounds anyway, because the experience is phenomenal, and he's fought at a much higher level than most of the people about, you know, our domestic scene.
He's not one for making excuses, and I don't think he really did make any excuses after the Lagoon fight, but he did have a broken hand coming into that, and you sort of made the choice of, can you get through it with one hand? Yes, we can, and actually it's a decision that paid dividends, but he was stung by some of the criticism afterwards, which he hasn't taken too personally, but have we still yet to see the best of Tommy McCarthy is where I'm going with that. How much of the potential have we seen, do you think?
Tommy's had a bit of a stop-start career. You know, now we've got the momentum going. Maybe I have to hold my hand up to the Reactport fight. Maybe it was too soon on his comeback trail. You know, maybe he froze the lights. It doesn't matter. He lost the fight. I never make excuses. And the last fight, he did break his hand, and I didn't know about that. If I'd known about that, he would never been in the fight. You know, it was only afterwards. Even Tommy, his cutman, and who wrapped his hands, had no idea, and we were like, I was going nuts. And then after it, I said, well, he had to get a wee operation, get it all fixed. But there's no excuses, and I really expect a big performance from Tommy on Saturday night, and you know, people's going to be really delighted with what to see.
Mark, thank you very much. You've set everything on fire there with some of those comments. Adam, just Phil with you until we're ready to go over to Gamal and Jason on stage. That was interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. CBS will have something to say about that. Great fight down the line.
Well, the second of our European title, three European title clashes on the card this Saturday night. Gamal Yafai, fresh off his fantastic victory in Italy to win the European Super Bantamweight title against Doncaster's Jason Cunningham. Another shout out to Steffi Ball, who's here as well, the second of his charges. And I think now is also a good time to give a shout out to Terry Harper as well, who might be watching this, has just had her operation yesterday. Heartbreaking news to see her miss the opportunity to unify the division against Hun Min Choi on this card. So get well soon, Terry. We look forward to seeing you back in the ring as soon as possible at the right time. Firstly, we go to the champion, Gamal Yafai. Gamal, quite frankly, a sort of career-saving victory for you in Italy last time out. The most horrendous couple of years with injuries, but you could see the look on your face when you won that European title. Absolutely back on track, and a real-world problem now for the division.
Yeah, had a horrible 2 years, but you know, it was good to go over to Italy, win the European title, do it the hard way, and it's good to be back home defending it in the UK.
What was the mindset of you? Obviously, you saw your brother go on and defend his world title multiple times. You know, your younger brother as well, doing so well with Team GB. Then Cowbox, Chocolatito, and you know, you were stuck at home with your bicep injuries, one that side, one that side. Did you just feel that your time in boxing might be coming to an end, or how did you stay positive during that time?
You know what? I thought to myself, nah, this isn't the end of me. I knew I was going to come back with the European title and go on to big things, and that's what I plan on doing. And we're starting on Saturday night.
I know that your aspirations are to move forward and fight for a world title as well, but tough fight on Saturday night. Experience, Southpaw, Brit.
Yeah.
What an opportunity for him. You know, the times that you've had where you needed that chance, he's got it on Saturday night, and you become the hunted.
Yeah, of course. You know, he wanted the opportunity, and you know, I give him the opportunity. So, you know, the best man will win, and I'm by far the best man. So, and I'll show that Saturday night.
Jason, Steffi wouldn't leave me alone with an opportunity for you.
You're right, you wouldn't.
You've boxed everybody. You've boxed at short notice. You know, you're in great shape for this fight as well. But a massive opportunity for your career to fight for the European title.
Yeah, massive opportunity. Another Yafai as well. Obviously, we've been there with Cal, haven't we? So it's his brother this time. Like I say, we're more or less begging for that opportunity, weren't we? For week after week. I always stay ready. I'd kind of an idea it could be happening. You didn't say no, you didn't say yeah, so I had to be prepared, I had to be ready, and I am. And you're going to see the best Jason Cunningham Saturday night. I'm ready for him, and I'm ready to take that title.
You feel that, you know, of all the experiences you've had, like I say, you boxed Cal, you boxed at short notice, boxed big names, and you had a great fight with Jordan Gill as well, that experience puts you in a great position. He's looking at, you know, obviously he's focused on you, but got plans to go on and fight for a world title. But this could be one that comes just up on the sneaky side.
Well, that's it. Got offered a few fights during the lockdown, but I'm so glad I was patient and waited out because this is the opportunity I wanted. This is the biggest title, the biggest fight to date. And like you say, you've just said there, this opens doors for him. I can see that show, can't I? This is my world title fight, if you like. And for me, like you say, I've got all this experience. I've took my setbacks. I've come back. I've had plenty of success as well. And I believe they've all put me in good stead. And for me, this is like, there's no starting again for me from here. So everything is going into Saturday night, and I'm going in very, very confident, very, very confident. And you know, I'm obviously expecting the best Gamal, but he should expect the best Jason Cunningham as well. So be a cracking fight.
Jason, Gamal, thank you, and just want to say how good it is to see two Brits fighting for the European title as well. So well done for both of you to accepting this fight. It's going to be a great fight. Can we have a head-to-head up here, please?
Australia first of all, then, Jason. Perfect.
Okay, so Gamal Yafai's European Super Bantamweight title on the line on Saturday, and I'm sure there were times when Gamal didn't think he was going to get this opportunity. Gamal, just a very quick word just on that mark there. Presumably that's exactly what you wanted to hear from Jason Cunningham, that you're facing the best Jason Cunningham. Like, he's been in the gym, he's had notice, he's fully ready for this. That must be what you want to do. You don't want to not get the credit for if you beat him. Now you've got that belt. I'm just looking at it there. You must be so proud to have it, and I'm sure you're going to want to keep hold of it on Saturday.
I'm very proud. You know, sort of worked hard for the last 2 years when things were bad. It's all I had in my head. You know, to get this title. I've got it now, and you know, only way is up. And I feel like defend this and push on to massive things and win a world title, change my life, change my family's life, and be another Britain's another world champion from Britain.
How do you guard against complacency? We know that you have aspirations to box for a world title, but that all goes away. Actually, if you get beat against Jason Cunningham, he comes as a real banana skin where you go wrong here and those dreams are gone.
Yeah, definitely. And it is a tall, awkward southpaw. Is going to be. There's going to be times when he's going to be awkward and that, but I know what I have to do against these kids. I'm not, honestly, no one's seen the best of me, and we see that we start Saturday night.
Being an international world-class amateur and being on that GB setup for so long, you will have boxed plenty of southpaws. However, I always ask this question, do you like boxing southpaws? I mean, long, awkward, long-bodied southpaws like Jason Cunningham. He's not going to be the top of many people's lists, but you seem to not be too bothered about boxing them.
I don't mind. I've been sparring loads of top world-class southpaws over the years. I've boxed loads of top world-class southpaws and beat them, and I've sparred. I've been sparring some top world-class southpaws, so I'm ready for this. I know what to do.
I'm not sort of getting involved, but I sort of rattled your cage a little bit yesterday when I said, he said he's been in with big punches like Reece Bellotti and you don't hit as hard as him. I saw a little glint in your eye that said, okay, I'll prove you wrong.
Yeah, like you say, we'll see on Saturday. I know how hard I punch, but you got to box your way in, you got to be clever, and the power will come off and be explosive performance Saturday night.
Brilliant, go well, thanks for joining us. Okay, let's get back over to the stage. You can see Lerrone Richards is with Giovanni Dacres, Eddie Hearn in the middle. So let's hear from them all.
Final of our 3 European Championship fights before we go to Joshua Buatsi in the main event. A fantastic super middleweight contest for the European title between Lerrone Richards and Giovanni Carolis, former WBA world champion, against former British and Commonwealth and undefeated champion as well. Lerrone, we'll start with you. I just want to put this out there that you said you wanted to sing up on stage. We're not going to allow that right now, but Darren and Chris, he's apparently going to give you a little song after this press conference. Make sure you keep the pressure on. Super chilled. Big fight. This is a really big fight. The European title. We know how important that title is on the route to getting yourself in the world rankings and challenging for titles. Tremendous opponent as well. Ready to really test yourself on Saturday.
Yeah, that's the plan. Like I've always said, I've always wanted to conquer Europe. And that's, being a European champion has always been a big thing for me, ticking every single box. I won the British, the Commonwealth, European's next step, and I'm very, very excited for this fight.
Obviously, a big step up for you. We've seen Carolis. I remember watching him beat Feigenberts, draw with Zeuger as well when he had the regular world title as well. Expecting a tough test against Carolis. Strong, likes to come forward, and going to be a great fight.
Yes, he brings a lot of pedigree. He's very experienced, a very good fighter. But this is a fight I believe I'm going to win, and I'm going to win very, very well.
Obviously, the division just red hot domestically. I know you're past that now, but on a global scale as well, you saw Canelo Alvarez fight Billy Joe Saunders. I know those fights are several fights down the line for you as well, but just a fantastic division. So many big fights out there as well, and you must have looked at last Saturday and thought, maybe one day, if I can win titles like this, that could be me up there.
See, this division is very sexy, and I'm glad to be a part of it. And I can't wait, to win this European title and then step on to bigger and better things.
Giovanni, welcome. Big fight for you. Like many, you've been inactive because of the pandemic, but European title, big fight. You look in great shape, ready for Saturday.
Oh yeah, I'm proud to represent my country here. I'm happy. 2 years of inactivity for me is bad, but this is the situation, and for me there isn't any problem. I'm ready for Saturday, and I'm happy to fight.
People in the UK will know you particularly from the Feigenberts fight and the Zeuger fight as well. 2 great fights. We expect another great fight from you on Saturday.
Oh yes, I'm happy because when I fight out my country, my heart on the ring is stronger. No, I would like the people see my heart and my boxing.
Well, big moment for you on Saturday in Italy and, of course, Great Britain as well. Lerrone Richards against Giovanni Carolis for the European Super Middleweight Championship. It's a fantastic fight live on Sky Sports in the UK and DAZN around the world this Saturday. Gentlemen, can we have a head-to-head here, please?
Down the front, please, Joanne. Face to face, please.
So that's Lerrone Richards against Giovanni Dacres for the vacant European Super Middleweight title. Lerrone's trainer Dave Caldwell is going to come and join us now while Lerrone makes his way. Lerrone, you're actually going to our colleagues at the back, I think. We've got Dave Caldwell, who's also going to give us a song. Dave, take it away.
No, it's not. To be fair, Lerrone can actually sing.
Yeah, he done you on his Insta in the gym. That shocked you, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it really, really surprised me. He talks it, but he can back it up as well. He walks it as well.
You've said to us, look, you haven't seen all of his personality yet. Is there a feeling that we haven't seen the best of him as well in the ring? I mean, you've only had one fight together, which was with Timo Lane, who was very negative, put it in a nice way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. He has shown cameos and little bits of what he's capable of, and then as the sparring sessions have gone on, as he got more comfortable in what trying to get him to do, put in more gears, expressing. I want him to express himself because he's quite a quirky character actually, and that what you can get glimpses of up on stage and around, he actually does that in the ring as well. You know, he'll just say things, he'll just start doing things. You know, he's very quirky, but when he takes off the shackles and he expresses himself, that's when you see the best of him in boxing. You know, he's got moves, he's got angles, he's got variety of punches, but he's always been kind of like safety first. I'm just going to do enough to win. Getting that out of him, that's when we'll see the best of him.
What do you make of what Giovanni Carolis said up there? Said all the right things, but he also conceded that inactivity is not helpful for him at this stage of his career.
Yeah, listen, all boxers hate inactivity. There's no lie about that. Lerrone himself has had inactivity before, but this is the situation we're in, and once you accept a fight, you saw him at the media workout yesterday. He's physically in great shape. He's very, very strong. He's got pride, he's got pride, and he's got an ambition. Everybody knows now when they come onto these matchroom shows and the opportunity they've got. Of Eddie talks about this winner stays on. Well, there's Eddie's doing shows in Italy now, so he knows that if he comes over here, wins the European title, he can headline a show in Italy, his own show, and it breaks him into that bracket over in Italy. So he's not just going to come over here and just lay down. He's going to come over here to make a name for himself and give himself one last push towards a world title himself.
How much of a yardstick will the Carolis be if he beats the Carolis? What will that tell us about Lerrone Richards? Will that tell us that he is European level and above? What do you want to see from Lerrone against a tried and tested opponent like Giovanni Carolis?
Okay, so he wins this. He's without doubt European level and above, because Carolis is a good fighter. As a former world champion, he's a good fighter. Do you remember? You go back years, and when I was growing up and in the gyms, Johnny Nelson, Bomber Graham, they'd have real good European title fighters, right? And that's a good, solid title. It doesn't mean that you're going to be world level. It doesn't mean that you are world level. It means that you're European level, and it's a great title to then pick fights at European level, which is going to add to your education, add to your knowledge and your ring experience to prepare you for the final jump to world level. So I don't want Lerrone to go in there and just nick this European title. I want him to go in there and look good, show us what he can do, express himself, look good against a good fighter. Then he's become a European champion. Yes, he gets his ranking and things like that on the world level, but that doesn't mean that he's ready to go in at world level. Stay at European level, get a couple of defences, or get some good international opposition. That's what my hopes are for him.
Brilliant. Well, let's see how he goes on Saturday. Dave, thank you very much for joining us, and very disappointing that you didn't give us a song when you promised that you would. Next time, maybe. You can already see on stage our main event fighters are starting to make their way there. Eddie Hearn in the middle, Virgil Hunter, obviously Joshua Buatsi's new trainer on the far end with the mask on. Joshua Buatsi just taking his seat, and Daniel Dos Santos is on Eddie Hearn's left shoulder. So let's get over to the main man and hear from everyone and see what they've got to say.
Thank you, Chris. And finally, a stacked card, and we get to the main event. A big fight for Joshua Buatsi against Daniel Dos Santos. Delighted to see both men here for the WBA International Light Heavyweight title. A very important fight in the career of Joshua Buatsi. Also delighted to be joined by legendary trainer Virgil Hunter. I'll start with you, Virgil. Welcome back. You was in Texas with Suleiman Sissoko as well. It was a hell of a night. Back here in the UK, we're behind closed doors, Virgil, I'm afraid, this weekend, but a big fight and a first fight with you with the great talent of Joshua Buatsi.
Wow, what a great past weekend it was. It was exciting. It was a really ecstatic event. Well done job, Eddie, putting it together. I'm here back in the UK, a place that I like to think of home, being exposed to some of the UK's greatest fighters that I've had a chance to meet as well as work with. And Joshua Buatsi is no exception to that. I think he's a major talent. I think he has a tremendous upside, and I'm hoping that I can do everything to cultivate that and to turn that into a world champion.
Obviously a big move for him to up sticks and come out to the States, so you know they're serious when they do that, Virgil, as well, but technically extremely sound as well, and looking forward to seeing all the work that you've put in so far in camp.
Well, we hope we see a lot of it, or some of it, or most of it. I'm sure some of it will show up. Joshua's an astute student, and I think that he'll apply some of the things that we worked on and show that tomorrow night, Saturday night, that he has been a good student.
You've seen many opponents before. Daniel Dos Santos, undefeated, 15-0, very strong, very raw, the absolute opportunity of a lifetime for him, and someone that should be taken very seriously in the ring in Manchester.
Well, of course, any time that you have an opportunity to fight a medalist from the Olympics, that medalist has a bullseye on his back, so he's going to get a hungry opponent, and that opponent is going to be dead serious because he knows it can change the trajectory of his career. So we don't have much footage on Dos Santos, but we take him serious what we have seen, that he is a good fighter. and that he's to be taken serious, and that's how we're approaching the fight.
Thank you, Virgil. Josh, before I come to you, Daniel, welcome. Your interviews have been fantastic this week. Your backstory is incredible, but more importantly than that, in terms of the fight, you look fit, you look strong, ready to take the opportunity of a lifetime on Saturday.
Yes, of course. It's like the opportunity of my life. We know Joshua Buatsi is a great champion, and for me, it's a great opportunity, and I appreciate to be here.
I want to just talk about that briefly. I heard many interviews with you where I believe you were in the army for 3 years. You ended up in prison for 3 years as well, and boxing completely changed your life. You know, we always preach this to people. Sometimes the politicians and people like that don't understand the role that boxing can play in changing lives, but you are a real story of how boxing saved yours.
Yes, boxing saved my life. A guy like me is supposed to be in jail or dead. And thank God I have the opportunity to leave the prison, make a real change, changement in my life, and become a professional fighter. Change 100% of life. I changed my city. I changed everything. And now, with all of this work, all of this dedication, I am in this place right now. And so I have to enjoy the moment.
As Virgil said, there's not too much footage of you. We know you come with a great reputation from France, 15-0, undefeated. What should the UK fans expect? You look like you can punch, you can switch hit as well, and you're going to have to be at your very best to beat this young man on Saturday.
Yes, I have to be the best version of myself for beat Joshua Buatsi, and that's why that's what I'm going to try on Saturday night.
Thank you, Daniel. Josh, back from the States, it was a big move for you. You know, something that you've obviously thought about. Shows how serious you take this career as well. And feeling good, ready for a good challenge. This young man looks ready for a huge opportunity. As Virgil said, there's always a target on your head, being a big prospect and an Olympic medalist as well, but ready to fight at the weekend.
Yeah, but I'm ready to fight. The thing is, so there may be a target on me, Eddie, but man, I'm really, really from the bottom. So the mentality and the build-up that Matchroom and you guys do is great, and it puts me up there. But that's not my mentality. My mentality, I've started from nothing as well. The story's there. I'm not even from England, from Ghana, so I've also come with nothing. So I always tell people when I fight, I've got nothing to lose. I'm gaining everything. And when I go in there, the mentality is different, man. So I'll be there to fight too. If there's a target on me, cool, but I'm there to fight and to protect the little that I have. So, yeah, I'm on it. Like you said, went to the States. Big change, but I enjoyed it. But I'm back now, and on Saturday it's time to fight.
Last time out, good fight for you against Carolis. You know, someone with good amateur experience as well. A little bit unknown, but, yeah, you know, came, maybe by your own admission, wasn't your sharpest performance, but had to take some shots in that fight, had to go through some tough moments. And when you look back, probably a good learning fight for you as well.
Yeah, no, it was. And I keep laughing whenever I say this because, you know, prior to a fight, you say you're willing to do everything, to do this, to do that. But when it was time in the ring that happened, I had to show up for it, and I felt I gave a good account, and I got the win. So Saturday night as well, I'll be there to do whatever it does take to win, because I'm in here to fight. So we'll see how it goes.
I know you don't talk badly about, you know, your domestic rivals and worldwide rivals as well, but it is a fantastic division domestically. You know, you've been probably at the front of that pack. You've been a little bit inactive. Maybe guys have crept past you a little bit, and that's arguable as well. But, you know, Lyndon Arthur with a good win over Anthony Yarde. Saw Craig Richards with a great performance against Dimitri Bivol as well. Are you looking to make a statement on Saturday night? I know that's not the kind of thing you'd say, but part of you must feel like you are the cream of that domestic crop and you want to go out there and prove it.
Same as everyone. I think if you ask any of them and they don't say it, then they must be thinking differently. But you're Eddie Hearn, right? You're sitting here, and I think you feel you've signed the best light heavy in the country. So that speaks for itself, man. And for the others, they're doing well as well. I'm doing what I'm doing, and hopefully one day we could all get in there and fight and to see. But for now, my man next door, that's who I've got to deal with. So that's what I'm concentrating on.
And finally, the work with Virgil Hunter as well. You know, highly, highly rated trainer, of course. Been trained some great champions over the years. Feel like that's brought an extra string to your bow.
Yeah, no, it's been good, man. It's been very good having Virgil on board. Amazing. And like I said, I did an interview a few days ago, and I said, I could have 100 coaches in my corner, but when that bell rings, it's just you. Nevertheless, though, having this man here added to the team, we'll see how it goes, man. It will be good.
Well, the first fight under Virgil Hunter and a big fight in the career of Joshua Buatsi this weekend, defending his title against France's Daniel dos Santos. Going to be a tough fight and a big main event this Saturday, live on Sky Sports in the UK and DAZN all around the world. Gentlemen, if we could have a head-to-head up here, please. Thank you.
Okay, so Joshua Buatsi and Daniel dos Santos just squaring off there for the penultimate time. They'll obviously go head-to-head for the final time tomorrow after they've weighed in, and Eddie Hearn's got that WBA international strap. Buatsi obviously wants to defend that, but also wants to consolidate his high ranking with the WBA. Josh, just on the good to see you, mate. Just on the strap there. First things first. That's the first time you've gone head to head with him. You told our colleagues at JD Sports yesterday, "Look, I live in sliders." You didn't have anything on your feet, so there was a height difference there. But that is the first time you've squared up to him. What did you make of him when you came face to face with him there?
Someone that's coming to win. There's not much to say. I've seen him. He's seen me. The only difference, I think, on Saturday, this will be gone. I can say it in advance now, but I'm ready to fight, man. So is he. So got a good story, like we heard. Like I say, everyone's got a story. So I don't feel that I'm getting like a special treatment. When we fight, everything's raw. What I've got, and what he's got. So it is what it is.
You don't make a lot of bold predictions, though. But that was quite nice to hear you say there. It's just because people don't know my story doesn't mean that I haven't got one to protect. And what little I have, I'm aiming to protect on Saturday night. It's just because you come through an elite GB amateur setup in Sheffield and won an Olympic medal doesn't mean that you haven't had it hard as well.
No, exactly, man. For the little that I've got, I worked hard for it, man. Very grateful. I've been blessed more than I deserve, but I worked hard for it. Trust me, I worked hard for it. We won't go into it, but we worked very hard to get here.
I'm sensing that you're very much in fight mode this week. You know, a lot of people asking about domestic rivals, Eddie Hearn's. I think people want bold predictions from you, and they want you to scream and shout and say, well, titles are coming and stuff like that. Actually, we spoke to Virgil Hunter earlier, and the interview will be available later. I said, what do you want to see from Joshua Buatsi? You've obviously worked with him throughout this. You'll have things that you want. He went, I just want him to win.
Yeah.
I just want to win. Winning is all that matters. The performance, we can talk about that afterwards. Yeah. But actually, it's winning. Winner stays on.
And that's what I said to you over the last few days. Winning, that's all it is. However it comes, you take it. Of course, you want to entertain, you want to look good, do this and do that. But to win, man, and on Saturday, that's all I think about. I don't think about anything else. Win. However you got to win.
Boxers are the best poker players in the world. You're never going to say, I've not had a great camp, I'm not up for this. But you do seem like going over to America, you've made sacrifices. It's like you said, you can't just jump on a train and come home from Sheffield. I'm there and I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to soak up everything that Virgil's offering. At the same time, though, you are judged on your performance. I don't know if it not rattles you at all, but, you know, because you had a bit of a gut check against Kalic, you know, in an ideal scenario, you wouldn't have had that. It would have been just keep ticking every boxes. How much of a beneficial experience was that to test yourself, to ask questions of yourself? You know, can I do it in a hard fight? Can I do it with my eyes swollen out my head? Can I do it when doubts start creeping in?
It was good, and there's a quote that I love by Bruce Lee, know yourself to know others. And that was a situation where I got to know myself a bit better. Going to the States as well, I get to know myself a bit better because some of the times I'm alone. So I'm like, okay, cool. Really, I get to learn about myself. But yeah, there's so many talks about all the other light heavies and everything. But right now, like I said, I've got to deal with this guy here, deal with him, and then we see what's next. But most importantly, like we said previously, to win, that's all I think about.
Winning is all that matters, but the performance you are judged on, and ultimately you do want to produce a good performance. I don't want to push you into predictions, but if you do everything that you've done behind closed doors, replicate everything that you've done in sparring, are you confident enough to say that you think you can stop Daniel dos Santos, albeit an undefeated French opponent who's got a good record on paper?
How about this, Andy? Everything that I've learned over the last 8 weeks may not even show up. I may do the opposite. But guess what? We're still here to win, and that's what it is.
Perfect. Do you want to say anything to your fans? Obviously, look, it's still boxing behind closed doors. It's still not an ideal environment. I know how much you love turning out at the O2 when everybody's there and it's packed out. You've got your family there as well. It just can't happen at the moment. So I just wonder if you've got a message for all the friends and family back home, probably people that haven't seen you because you've been in the States as well.
For sure. I think got to bear with us. This is the last show behind closed doors. Things open up now. We'll be back packing out arenas and fighting and entertaining everyone. So stay tuned and keep supporting the fighters. Big respect.
It's a hard job for the barber as well. When's that all coming off? Is it Friday night? Because I thought it was just a quick thing, but it's like a three. We got invited to film it once. It's like a 3.5 hour thing. No. I wasn't prepared for that at all. Andy, I don't know what I'm going to do for 3.5 hours.
Andy, I've got the trim. All that's left is this. So on Friday night, tomorrow night, I'm the barber. I take all of this off. Yeah. So we're ready, man.
Listen, it doesn't matter. You look sharp, come what may. So go well. Thank you very much for joining us. Go well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Adam, on the spot there, 3.5 hours in the barber. I don't know if those, are those gone for you. I don't know if we could do the Joshua Buatsi beard. It is a proper beard, but what do you take from everything you've just said? He seems in a very, very good place, but Joshua Buatsi, he doesn't give bold predictions. He's not going to be pushed into saying something that he's not confident in saying. It doesn't matter how many times we've tried it. 13 fights now, we've tried to get him to let the guard down a little bit and be braggadocious, and that's just not happening, and that is Joshua Buatsi.
Yeah, he's his own man. It's his personality. He's very focused, isn't he? I think that's obvious, and I think the time that he spent with Virgil will be very rewarding because he's got a good team around him, but that just adds a little bit extra, doesn't it? Virgil's been around the top for so long, and I think that what I like what he did with Virgil, with Andre Ward for so long, Virgil, was that they had that almost like a father-son relationship, and they just lived and breathed it all together. And if Joshua can get some of that, in just 8 weeks' time, and it's difficult. We saw a couple of weeks ago, Joe Parker had only had a few weeks with Andy Lee, Derek Chisora only a few weeks with Buddy McGirt. It's difficult when you don't have a lot of time, but let's see if there's a few flashes of the Virgil Hunter artistry in what JB does on Saturday night. But
it's interesting because we pigeonhole trainers, don't we? I think people think just because Virgil worked with one of the best defensive fighters of the modern generation that he's a trainer of defensive fighters. But actually, if you remember, he tried to slow Amir Khan down a little bit, but he didn't take away Amir's strengths. And also, he trained one of the most offensive fighters in now, Alfredo Angulo. Okay, he lost to Canelo, but he's not just a defensive trainer, is he? So actually, you know him quite well, having spent time around the Super Six and Carl Froch and the great Amir days we had with him. What is he actually going to bring? What do you think he's actually going to bring? That's one of the things people have levelled at Joshua is offensively. He's brilliant. Maybe he doesn't move his head. That sounds like I'm being disrespectful. Maybe he could move his head a little bit more.
I think you're right, and I do know Virgil very well. First of all, he'll bring wisdom, and secondly, he'll bring a different way of looking at opponents. And I think that Joshua, if there is a criticism, he can be slightly upright. He's done so well. He had 13 professional fights. He was a brilliant amateur. He's explosive. We know what he can do offensively. We know what he can do aggressively. I think last time out, and I think the inactivity was partly to blame as well. There was times where he was caught, and I think that Virgil will have looked at that, and I think he will have worked on that defence. But I think he would have worked on the whole package. And I think Joshua Buatsi, I believe in him that he can go on and become a world champion. And I know Eddie does. But listen, he's got a dangerous fight. Dos Santos comes with nothing to lose. 15-0. He can punch. Great backstory. What an opportunity. And Joshua didn't look great last time out.
Eddie, good to see you. Have you been away?
I was in Texas.
Oh, you don't talk about it.
Yeah. I don't know if you know, we had 73,000 in there. Yeah, it was good.
Congratulations. As Virgil said, congratulations. It was an amazing event, sitting at home watching it. We'll try and grab your reflections later in the week. Talk about the here and now while we're here. Joshua Buatsi and Daniel Dos Santos. Now you've seen both of them. This is a big night for Joshua Buatsi. All the dreams that you've got of pushing him into world titles, boxing stateside, all of those, they will go away. How many times have we seen the away corner in this pandemic cause an upset?
Yeah, I mean, when you start breaking it down, if you want to be sort of the flag bearer for Daniel Dos Santos, you start talking about the inactivity of Joshua Buatsi. You start talking about his last performance wasn't his best. You start to talk about his changed trainers. Sometimes that takes a little bit of time to gel. But then you look at Daniel Dos Santos and you say, okay, 15-0, but hasn't boxed at the level of Buatsi, but is super fit, punches very, very hard, and comes with absolutely nothing to lose. A little bit like Straffon, a little bit like Maurizio Lara, a little bit like all these guys who have turned, Valenzuela, who have turned up with no crowd and just sort of said, You can see him punching the corner pads before the first bell goes. Like, this is the opportunity of my life. Great backstory. I mean, talks about how boxing saved his life from prison. Buatsi had a little go himself and said, I've got a backstory too. And he has. He comes from a tough background as well. All these fighters do. I think in this fight, Joshua Buatsi should show his levels. But against Kalic, when it started getting a little bit tough, he was asked the questions. He came back. He showed that he was tough enough. But you don't want to see him go there too many times at this level, because our interpretation of Joshua Buatsi is he's a world champion in the making. So he should be dealing with fighters like Dos Santos. The hard thing is a little bit of footage of Dos Santos, but not much for Virgil to look at and start studying and saying, he does this, he does this. I watched the workout last night. He switches quite a bit as well. He's quite unorthodox. He's got very long arms. You can see he punches hard. So I think there's a little bit of pressure on Buatsi here to sort of make a statement, because of his inactivity, he's seen the domestic guys start bubbling around again. And it was only maybe 12 months ago where everybody said, really, the domestic guys can't touch Joshua Buatsi. Now they're looking at them coming through saying, OK, well, how good is Buatsi? And I think he'll be looking to try and make a statement. I think he's ready for the World Championships. I think he can beat Dimitri Bivol. I really do. And I know there's some big domestic fights, but it all depends on the speed that Virgil and 258 want to take him.
Yeah, he said to us earlier that he can see him winning, this is Virgil I'm talking about, that he can see Joshua Buatsi challenging and winning a world title in 18 months' time. Is that realistic, or in your ideal scenario, is it win this, maybe one more as a gatekeeper for into world title level, and then it's world titles? Or if he wins this, do you want to go straight in? You do co-promote Bivol, so it's interesting.
Yeah, I think he needs two more, and starting with Saturday night as well. I still think he needs that guy. You look at like Craig Richards, for example. He just didn't quite have the confidence or the gears to believe he could really do it. He came close, really, but if he would have believed in himself, if he would have boxed at that level before, I think Craig Richards got in there, and 6 rounds had passed, and I think he's thought to himself, you know what, I can compete here. But it was too late. So I like those Sullivan Barreras, those kind of guys who failed just at world level, but, are also very good fighters. And Dos Santos and Kalic, they're young fighters, in this case undefeated, who don't have much to lose and are dangerous. But you also want to get a prospect like Joshua Buatsi, absolutely prepared perfectly for a Dimitri Bivol, because you only get one shot. And if you're not ready or you're not good enough, it passes you by. And I don't want all the time that's put into Joshua Buatsi and all the ability that he has. When you make that step for a world title, it's got to be the right time. But you don't want to wait too long at the same time. I think because of the move to Virgil, you need to give him those 2 fights to bed in. And listen, it might be difficult, because sometimes it's a change of styles. They're trying to do things that they've not done before, and it can unfold in the ring. Hopefully, he looks like an improved fighter on Saturday.
It was a press conference dream for a promoter in terms of, like, everybody that sat on the left-hand side of you said, you've got the best of me, this is the best preparation. What stands out on the undercard for you? Which one, out of all of those, the 3 European title fights and the English title fight, which one stands out for you the most?
I mean, I love Lerrone Richards against Carolis. You look at Carolis against Feigenbertsi when he beat him, Zoiga in the draw. He's a very, very tough game fighter. Lerrone can sometimes be a little bit negative, last time out, and I think this style will suit him well. I love Gamal Yafai against Jason Cunningham, because when I looked down at European rankings and I saw Brit, he's the guy, and it's such a big opportunity for him. But one that stands out for me actually is Dalton Smith against Lee Appleyard, because it's Sheffield against Rotherham. Dalton Smith, for me, I think he's the standout young prospect right now in Britain. I think he looks like a tremendous talent. Lee Appleyard has boxed at a decent level, won English titles. But as he said, had 3 weeks preparation last time, and unfortunately tested positive for COVID. This time had 9 weeks and spoke really, really well. So all you ever want is that, that right-hand side of the card to be fully prepared to chase their dreams and to give it 110%. And this show will be our last show behind closed doors. And I will be astonished if there isn't some kind of shock, because there's been one on every card. I'm hoping that when we go back to crowds, we don't get any shocks anymore, because that's been one of the most enjoyable things. And sorry to Tennyson and Lara and Robbie Davis and all those people that have got beat, but those performances and the reaction of those fighters have made this environment quite special, in an environment that shouldn't be special. Again, going back to Texas, that's how we love to see boxing. But these behind closed door events have thrown up some big upsets, and I wouldn't be surprised on Saturday. De Carolis feels like,
You know, I've beaten Feigenberts, I've beaten Zoiga, I should be beating Lerrone Richards. Jason Cunningham looks at Gamal Yafai and says, well, Gavin McDonald beat him. You know, I believe I can beat him with my experience. Lee Appleyard saying, Dalton Smith, he's a novice, really. I should be beating him. And Alexandru looking at Tommy McCarthy saying, well, he's signed up to fight Chris Billam-Smith. So I'm going to beat him. And Joshua Buatsi's fighting a guy who we really don't know how good he is, but we know he's strong, tough and dangerous. So anything could happen.
Yeah, very, very well summed up there. Just quickly, you know, more and more is coming out now. AJ Fury, like you said, I'll have something to say this week. You have said it, August 7th or August 14th. Any news back from Team Fury? Seen some comments from both sides about what's happening. What's the latest update with this?
Yeah, all positive. I mean, you've seen Frank Warren come out with August the 14th, which is correct. We agree on something on that respect. The 7th was the original date. Of course, that's also the final day of the Olympics, although it's on different time zones. 14th in Saudi Arabia is the done deal. It is Eid over there at the moment, so it's a bit difficult to put pressure on in terms of, you know, securing financial documents and paperwork that Team Fury need. Don't forget, it's the same organisation that we did the Andy Ruiz fight with, so we're very comfortable with the deal. But as far as they're concerned, they've never worked together before. So they're doing the right job, which is to make sure that everything is in order from their side. It's nice now to get everybody moving forward saying, yes, August 14th, it's on. And, you know, we can move forward now, start planning the press tours, the media tours, and a build-up that will be possibly as good as the fight in many ways, and start to get very excited after a long road.
Is the venue built? Do they need to build it? Forgive me if I haven't seen it, but obviously the Ruiz fight was in Riyadh. I know that the Super Series has been over there and used Jeddah. Have you got a location that you can confirm?
Yeah, they want to build another stadium. I mean, they've got also indoor options, but you know, August is about 23 degrees at 11 p.m. It's quite warm, but they want to create something very, very special. You remember last time they built the stadium for the Andy Ruiz fight in just 7 weeks. That held 18,000, and this will be a similar setup. You know, they have the opportunity to hold it indoors, but they want to create something that's going to just shock the world here, and they want to, if they can, try and build another stadium just for this fight.
And in terms of it wasn't a threat, but the prospect of Fury Wilder 3, that arbitration looks like it is coming to an end. Is that a relief for everyone involved? Was that always a possibility that Fury could go on and box Wilder again, and that would put everything on hold? Is that another box ticked?
Yeah, I think there was never any doubt that the arbitration could stop the Fury against AJ fight, but of course, you know, I guess the other side just wouldn't stop in that respect, and they had to go through the post-process. Bob Arum always assured us that that wouldn't be a problem. He's looked to be correct on that, and hopefully Deontay Wilder continue his career, because I want to see him fight again. And you know, I just feel that any other fight other than AJ Fury just feels like it's going to be a letdown. So, you know, Fury against Wilder is a great fight. No one's interested in seeing it. You know, AJ against Usyk, great fight. No one's interested in seeing it. Excuse me. But, of course, everybody wants this fight, and they're going to get it.
You will have seen, though, the exchanges between the two. Spartan, I'm getting tired. You know that popcorn meme where you're just waiting? Are you watching that unfold as well?
I want it to carry on. And I think you're going to get a different AJ in this build-up. I think he's excited because he's never really, you know, other than the Dillian White fight, he's not really been in a sort of that kind of trash talk environment. I think he wants to be in that environment. I think he's got his own plans for Tyson Fury. I think he's going to enjoy it. You know, there was part of me, you know, Tyson Fury's very good at what he does in and out of the ring. But I think maybe if this fight was made 6 months ago, it might be slightly different now. But AJ's got the bit between his teeth, goading him a little bit. I'm sure these two DM each other, goading each other backwards and forwards. I mean, I get DMs from Tyson Fury. Sometimes are pleasant, sometimes are unpleasant.
But then you go and meet him in Vegas for a coffee, and it was good.
Yeah, but I think he just realised, like, we're all doing all we can to make this fight, and it's going to be very beneficial to the both of them, not just financially, but from a legacy point of view as well. So, but when the announcement comes and when the press conferences start, I think those pleasantries will go away, and it becomes a little bit personal, because it doesn't matter who respects who. Both sides absolutely desperate to win, because this is everything. You know, this is the undisputed heavyweight world championship. So there's no fun and games. There's no, oh, thanks, yeah, good to see you, mate. Thanks for sorting this fight. It's them and us, basically, and war. And AJ will be going to war with Tyson Fury, and he has plans to go in there and absolutely demolish him. And that's what he's planning to do. That's what I believe he's going to do. In the meantime, we've got to go through the build-up, which is going to be a lot of fun, and get prepared for the biggest sporting event of 2021.
Oh, woof. He set that up. You're free to go now. Everybody that's watching that has just gone, wow, okay. I mean, doesn't do things by half measures, Eddie Hearn. That is a biggie. Adam, just come onto that orange cross there on the floor. I've got to get your reaction to that because, yes, we want to finish by talking about Joshua Buatsi, but God, he knows how to sell it, doesn't he? He's got us all going now. I'm standing there like a nodding dog off camera, like, wow, he's convinced me. I get the sense there's still more to do, though. We're not there yet. Maybe we can sort of move to orange alert, but we're not quite there yet. Yeah. Well, you've done a lot of these. For every great bit of news there,
sure,
there is a little bit on the other side. There's two sides to every story. Eddie makes it sound great, but we're not quite there yet, are we? Although I do feel like we're a lot closer than we were.
I remember times when we had Frank Warren on one phone, Adam Booth on another, David Hay and Klitschko was one that I think we were working on Christmas Day. So these are difficult fights to put together. Obviously, you mentioned the Wilder arbitration, but this fight is going to happen. I've always said it that Anthony and Tyson both want the fight, and it really goes down to the fighters. Ultimately, if they do want to do it, then a deal can be made. We've had contracts signed, we've had then sites and dates and all of this sort of stuff. It will happen. I'm absolutely convinced it will happen. I just think that we need a definitive announcement, pretty soon now, because I think people are starting to get frustrated with it all, and I think what we don't want is this to drag on and on and on, and eventually, in a month's time, we suddenly get the announcement. People say, hang on a minute, it's a bit sort of, Peter and the Wolf, isn't it? That sort of, are we going to believe it's even going to happen then? I think that all the parties have got to come together. Hopefully, when the I's and the T's are finalised, which I believe will be very, very soon, and everyone needs to come together. Bob Arum, Frank Warren, Eddie Hearn, and the fighters, and say, right, this is happening, and this is the date. We think it's August the 14th. We think it's Saudi. But we need to hear it from all of them. And I think when that happens, of course, then we start getting really excited. And Eddie's right, the build-up is going to be as good as the fight, isn't it? It's a fantastic sort of clash of personalities, of characters. It's the two greatest heavyweights on the planet. They're both British. They're both chalk and cheese in character and in style. It's going to be fantastic. So it's a mouth-watering, match-up. It's got everything. It could be the sporting event of the year, even with the Euros and the Olympics and so much else that's going on. It could be, but we want to definitively get it announced, and I think we need to do that. I'm getting people saying to me, I'm getting a bit bored of this. I've heard it announced. I've sort of, is it going to happen? What we don't want is people thinking that when it is properly announced, it's not going to happen, because there's been so much toing and froing. So I think we do need a definitive announcement within the next week or two from all the parties. We need a big global tour. We don't want to get everybody sort of focused in on August the 14th, midsummer. It'll be absolutely amazing. And of course, when we get that, and we get the two of them at the dais at those press conferences, out in Saudi, I don't know, New York, LA, England, wherever they want to take it, it will be that's when we can really believe. And it's a fight that I think that all fans out there deserve after what we've been through in this pandemic. I think it's a fight that both AJ and Tyson Fury deserve and want more than anything. It's a legacy fight. All the belts on the line, the world heavyweight champions, both from our country. It's fantastic. It's a shame it won't happen at Wembley or at Spurs or somewhere here. It can't. Finances take over. We're going to go to the Middle East, and it's going to be unbelievable.
Adam, if there was anybody else left in the room here, you would get a round of applause for that. That was brilliant. What? There's one at the back, one straggler. What a good speech there. That, I think, feels like a really good place to end today's stream.
Saturday night. That's first.
No, exactly. I mean, all talk about the big one, but all the focus, certainly here in the bubble, is on Joshua Buatsi's task on Saturday night. He takes on Daniel dos Santos. That's the press conference done, so one more media event this week, the weigh-in. Wherever you watch this stream today, come back tomorrow from just before 1 o'clock, Fighters on the Scales from 1. We hope to see you then.